me tell you something, Average Joe Nation. Do you want to body slam your fantasy football drafts like I did Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, brother? Then do what I did, dude, and purchase the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Draft Loadout. Ew, it comes with everything you need to win at your draft, including 1. Draft cheat sheets for any scoring type. 2. Full rookie prospect profiles for this year's class. 3. In-depth draft articles like sleepers, busts, rookies, value candidates, deep sleepers, and my guys, dude. 4. You'll be able to get trade values for draft picks or player trading and so much more. Ew. Head over to www.averagejoenation.com and purchase this year's draft loadout. What you gonna do when your fantasy football draft is upon you?
Here we go. Welcome, Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. With fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Yeah, fantasy football talk hateful eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down. Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to the recording studio, we're getting loud. Getting ready, headphones on, red light go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast with your host, I'm Pickle, and with me as always, Blackburn.
What up?
And Trimboli.
What's going on?
It is a beautiful Thursday morning here in Ohio, post-rain, post-thunderstorm. Yeah. We just want to give a huge shout-out to the Hulkster for giving that promo for draft loadout. If you guys are looking to body slam, as he said, your draft, this is where you want to start with. So,
Absolutely.
all right. Today's main segment is the mock draft mayhem. So it's 1.0. You good? No?
Technical
difficulties. Anyway, so today's show, like I said, mock draft mayhem 1.0. It'll be a PPR draft with double flex, which apparently we just found out one person, maybe both, did not know. 2 of the 3 of us did not realize that it was drafted that way.
I did not know.
So we apologize in advance.
Did it on purpose.
Yeah, so, no, actually. But this will be, there's no rookies in it, so it's kind of what you're looking at right now before the actual NFL draft comes through in the next couple weeks, which obviously.
Next week.
Yeah, next week. So after that, obviously in another month, we'll do another mock draft, and you'll have your rookies entered in, and you'll have a little bit better idea, obviously, what teams they're going to be on.
Right.
So.
Yep.
That'll change some of these guys' draft positions and stuff like that. I think that helped. As we go into the draft, you'll see guys maybe a round or 2 earlier than what they'll probably end up being once some of these rookies kind of get implemented into the process.
Yeah, I mean, and later in the rounds, it was hard to take that flyer.
Yeah.
Normally you're looking at that rookie there to see which one's going to be the potential breakout. Well, they weren't there yet.
Right. So you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're listening to us on the podcast, whatever platform that may be, you can hit subscribe so that way you get notified every time a new show drops, as well as on YouTube. You can hit the subscribe and the bell button to get yourself notified, I guess, is the best way.
Smash that like button, too.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, do it all.
And then if you're on the DATV side of things, you're watching us. It's 10:30 p.m. on Fridays and then 4 p.m. on Sundays. So we'll obviously those will continue to go through the whole off season as well as the in season stuff. So you guys will be able to get taken care of for all of your fantasy football needs. So let's go ahead and get into our first segment today, the fantasy news and notes.
Fantasy news and notes.
Fantasy news and notes presented by Sleeper. If you're wanting to stay up to date on all things fantasy football news related, then make sure you download the app Sleeper on iOS or Android. Plus, they have the cool features of where you can port over your league from any of the other platforms, as well as if you just want to start up. And it's honestly the easiest mock draft format, which you'll see later in the show that we did it on. There's just so many different options, and
It's smooth.
Yeah. I just like the fact that if somebody messes up a pick, or if somebody says, "Hey, wait a second, my phone's messing up," or whatever, you can pause it.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
the key for that for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I did our mock draft on the go, so
Right.
I was too.
right from my phone.
Yep.
I was don't tell my wife, but I was outside supposedly watching the child climb up the jungle gym when I was drafting.
Well, she knows now.
As she does now. Sorry. Please forgive me. Anyway, so the first thing, I tried to look at the news, and I didn't want to add in all the different, like, quarterbacks are visiting here, running backs visiting here, because we all know that all the top guys are visiting different teams that are in need of said positions.
Yeah.
So I just put this one just because it's kind of like the true like big question mark left within the NFL draft, like to kick it off. So Kyler Murray cancels a visit with the Redskins, said he had a scheduled visit but ended up canceling it. So to me, that tells me he's going one.
Yeah, they're not going to take a chance on him getting hurt. So that told me this. I said the same thing. As soon as it came out, I was like, well, Redskins didn't have really a shot at him anyway unless they were going to give up a lot of draft capital, which I don't see them doing. So this tells me, yeah, that Arizona's going to pick him number one, and they don't want to take a chance on him getting hurt.
Right. Go ahead.
No, I couldn't agree anymore. He's at least going to go in the top 5. So
Yeah, I figured for the fact that Redskins were a quarterback-needed team, and this is the team that Rosen's kind of been mainly linked to, that New England and the Giants as well. The fact that he canceled with the Redskins tells me, obviously, the Redskins are probably going to be getting a quarterback in some fashion.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all.
Whether that's Rosen.
Well, there's been smoke screens. The one report a couple weeks ago said, yeah, they're very interested, and the second one said, no, we're not really going after him. I don't care. I would like to see Rosen, but I'd like to see Haskins too.
Yeah,
because he's starting to fall in a lot of people's draft.
Yeah,
boards.
a lot of people are just thinking he's a system quarterback and so on and so forth. Which if it was the Urban Meyer like Tim Tebow type offensive style, then I would have given you a little bit of I get you. He's that.
But Tim Tebow didn't throw 50 touchdowns.
That's the difference. He's just another monster out there, and he's that prototypical body frame out there. Now he is truly like the Tom Brady's, the Eli's, Peyton. He is not a mobile guy by any means.
No.
We obviously saw it.
But he can escape. He's got escapability factor. He just won't hurt you down the field like a Michael Vick.
Right. That's what I try to like when people are like, well, he's not really a running quarterback. No, he's not what you think of like in a Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson. He's not going to kill you with his legs. But like you said, to me, it's different between like being a running quarterback and being a quarterback that can escape the pocket if need be, or roll it even.
His problem is he's not grading out in the top 5.
Right.
That's what I can't understand. I mean,
some draft boards have him at 15.
Which would fall right to the
Redskins.
Redskins.
Which is right in the Redskins' wheelhouse.
So, and then let me get this drop for you.
That's the sound of the police.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette arrested on an unpaid speeding ticket. Now, he was arrested Thursday afternoon for failing to pay a speeding ticket from November. Obviously, it said something about his license had been like suspended, obviously, and so he was driving under a suspended license, and it was stemmed from a November ticket that he had not paid, which. Yes, in the grand scheme of things, it's not something to freak out. Like, it's not anything in relation to like what Tyreek Hill is currently and potentially being investigated for, or any of these other guys that are a little bit more like domestic violence stuff. This is traffic violation and or citation that he just didn't pay. But it just goes back to the factor of maturity, and it goes back to the factor of if you're wanting to be the main guy and the focal point of this offense and what Tom Coughlin wants you to be. I mean, you just had a talk how many weeks ago with him, and I've grown up. Yeah, I'm going to be the guy. I'll be the face of what the organization. And then this comes through, and you're just like, okay, so I don't think this is a straw that breaks the camel's back, but I do think this is just another check in the box of why they took the guaranteed money off, why that they're hesitant on making him the guy going forward.
I think they're going to trade him.
You think this is kind of like the final?
I don't know. I think they've just been dealing with so much, and there's stuff probably that we don't even know about the media. You know?
Well, see, I don't think his value is that high on trades because he's not 100% healthy.
Well,
no team's just going to unload a high draft pick or even player.
Oakland's sitting there with 3 first-round draft picks.
You think they're going to unload a first-round draft pick for Fournette right now?
No, but they could unload a 2, then trade that 1 to get another 2 or 3, and basically they get him for nothing.
That's a lot of what-ifs, though.
I'm just saying.
It is true. If
they need a running back.
Well, no, I totally agree with you there. I mean, don't know.
Crowell's there, but we all talked about that. There's definitely going to be another running back, whether that's through the draft or through trades, going to be brought into Oakland to compete as the number 1, because Crowell is not going to be the guy starting day 1.
Well, if I was Oakland, I would at least call and ask.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Which they may have. We don't know, obviously.
And I don't know how bad Jacksonville wants to unload him. And maybe they don't need a first-round pick.
Like he said, there's a reason, though, that they took all those incentives out of his contract.
I think they were trying to motivate him by doing that.
Well, that's not how you motivate somebody.
It doesn't seem like it's motivated his personality.
You got to listen. You got to hit these guys where it counts, and it's in the pocketbook.
Yeah,
true.
When
that's the only way.
When your ego is bigger than what the team is, I mean, it's not going to help you.
Yeah, I think for initially, I agree. I think maybe this was a motivational kind of like, okay, do you see the importance that we're asking you to step up, be the guy, be the adult, be mature? But
this is year 3 for him,
right?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if it also gives Tom Coughlin and the Jacksonville Jaguars a way out to just slide stage left and be like, all right, we're out. See you later. And I don't think that they would cut him. I think that they would trade him before they obviously would cut him. But
he's got value. I don't know if he'd be, middle half of the first round value, but they could get something good for him.
I think the second round, I think, would be a good spot for them to get rid of him and just cut ties and be done with it and start over. Because, I mean, this is not a deep running back class. But on the flip side, it's Jacksonville. You got Nick Foles, who's going to throw the ball a ton.
Yep.
That's the difference. If it was like a more balanced quarterback or maybe a more running style quarterback like a Lamar Jackson, I would say, yeah, they're going to have to keep him a little bit longer. But the fact is, I think that they're just going to plug in somebody, and if he's not the guy, they'll just plug in somebody or go get somebody through the draft and call it a day.
See, I'll be surprised if Jacksonville's not involved in a quarterback still in this draft.
You think so?
I think they're in a rebuild, and Fournette actually fits a rebuild because that's what he is. You can just hand the ball off to him, run him to the ground until he's done. Don't re-sign him, restart all over. But signing Foles means that you're actually, I think, in a way, you're not trying to do a rebuild. Well, are you going to dump Fournette in the middle of this whatever they're doing?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's a shame because I liked Fournette, and he's a very good running back. He just needs to get his head on straight and get playing.
Right. I mean, it doesn't help. If he didn't have the injury question marks every year and it was just like off the field issues, but his performance on the field was great and he wasn't missing games, I think this would go under the rug. It would be no big deal.
Absolutely.
I mean, and we've talked about this many times. When your performance on the field speaks louder than your attitude or your demeanor outside of the football realm, they kind of tend to let things go. But it just keeps building with him, and it just keeps building with stuff. And it just seems like as soon as he kind of flies off the radar, something like this comes right back up. So
It's just unfortunate. He was fun to watch.
yeah, I don't know. It's we'll have to see, obviously, with the draft still coming through. But all right, go ahead.
I was gonna say 1 week away, man. I can't wait.
Yeah. So signings, not a. I mean, there's one big name, but the rest of them are kind of like, okay, makes sense. But Demaryius Thomas signed with the Patriots. It's a contract including a $150,000 signing bonus, base salary of $1.2 million, cap hit of about $3 million. So
I like it.
I think it's a good move for both parties because Josh McDaniels was the coach there when he got drafted in Denver and was successful. And I think that the Patriots need somebody else. I mean, it's Edelman and
That's it.
James White, Sony Michel, but those are guys that are out of the backfield. I just think that they needed another wide receiver to kind of come in and kind of help take the pressure off Edelman. And they could still go draft somebody. But everything I'm hearing, you got ASJ now, you've got Edelman, and if they don't get a tight end, ASJ immediately bumps into that high-profile tight end one spot. But if they do go get one of these young guys, it's still – they've made it work with two tight ends that are both athletic guys. So it's just what it is.
Thomas just feels like a Patriot. It just feels like a Patriot move there. So
Right.
I mean, look at the cap hit. It's not significant at all.
Not for what could be with him.
Well, they have a knack for doing that, picking up players and getting the most potential out of them.
Right. I mean, he could potentially play. I mean, it's only, I think, a one-year deal. So if he potentially could play into a multi-year deal next year, that could be beneficial to him this year. But and then the big one, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks signed for a $140 million extension. It's a $65 million signing bonus. That's a pretty good amount.
Highest paid player.
Here's what I think about this. Kudos to Russell Wilson for finagling in the Seahawks to give him this huge contract, saying that he was going to leave, and all this stuff like that. But it hampers the rest of the team. When is this going to end? How many times are we going to keep upping the ante for these quarterbacks? Because now you got Patrick Mahomes sitting here.
They're talking about they're talking about $200 million for Patrick Mahomes in a year.
Yeah, but then who are you? Okay.
I know.
You get a $40 or $50 cap hit for 1 year. Who else is going to be on your team to play?
What do you think the teams that have to look at the tier 2 quarterbacks that they're starting off like? No offense to Dak Prescott. Here you go. Dak Prescott's coming up. He's going to get big money.
Dak Prescott will get big money because of this, but I mean, look at the other players: Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, all these big name guys that are producing at a high level. They're sitting there licking their chops right now, like, in 1 or 2 years, it's my turn. Yeah,
right.
But when you give these guys $40 and $50 million in the cap, how are you going to afford DeAndre Hopkins? How are you going to afford Tyreek Hills? All these other guys.
Right. Well, and that's what I just talked to yesterday, a buddy of mine who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I told him, I said, well, now I said it's good for Russell Wilson. I said, but it's bad for the Chiefs fans and Chiefs organization because Patrick Mahomes is going to want at least that, if not $200 million has been thrown out there potentially to him. And he's like, well, that's fine. He goes, he's worth it. And I said, That's great. However, there's other people on the team that he has to throw the ball to,
Right.
or hand the ball off to, and you can only draft young guys and hit so many times. They
Right.
lucked out on Tyreek Hill being as good as he is. They've lucked out on Kareem Hunt being as good as he was coming. I mean, you really think about it. Jamal Charles was like the biggest profile guy that they've had last couple drafts.
But not all this is a cap hit though.
No,
That's these contracts are, the money is spread out.
Yeah, I get that, but still, I mean, you're getting $200 million for 4 or 5 years.
I just wonder if they're going to go to like baseball has deferred
right.
contracts.
I don't know.
Well, you got Travis Kelce's going to want some money.
Right.
I'm just saying there's a lot of what ifs
and it,
out there.
And it always goes back to the Patriots. They're like, oh, well, look at the Patriots. They play with a lot of, low-level guys. You know why they can? Because Tom Brady takes hometown discounts, and he's only making $15 million per year.
Right.
He's getting Super Bowl rings, making $15 million per year. The 6 highest paid quarterbacks last year did not make the playoffs.
Right. Well, you think when you bring up Tom Brady specifically, that's a great spot to point out. To him, he even came into the league. It's not like as he's gotten older, he's kind of changed his mentality. Since he has come into the league, his mentality has been to build his legacy and the Patriots' legacy. That's what it is.
Definitely did that.
Right. So I'm just saying he's more about the organization, more about the team than himself. Let's be honest.
He got paid, though.
Oh, he's gotten paid.
Not too many people wives make more money than he does.
This is also probably true.
I mean, that's a big difference here.
He came into money before he made real
Yeah,
big
but
money.
still, he could be selfish.
No, I agree.
And as a Super Bowl winning quarterback for
6,
most
mind
of
you.
this decade, he could demand a pretty good chunk of money, but he doesn't because he wants that money to go to other players so they can be a good team.
Right.
I agree.
He wants play. He makes the mentality, like you said. He makes the mindset that it's about the team. It's about us winning. I'd rather pay a top wide receiver or a top running back some money or a top tight end money, and then they go out there and I throw them the ball. We win games. We win Super Bowls.
Right.
Put more rings on the finger.
But the top six highest paid quarterbacks right now did not make the playoffs last year. None of them. Kirk Cousins was one of them.
Right there.
Yep.
If that's not the biggest, look what your money's getting you.
$90 million guaranteed.
Tom Brady out here making $15 million. He just
$90 million guaranteed.
barely
To sit on the
walking in.
couch and watch the playoffs with everybody else.
So, all right. Speaking of former Patriots, we talked about Demaryius being a new Patriot. Chris Hogan signs with the Panthers, 1-year deal, including a $300,000 signing bonus, base salary of $825,000.
Boom. Cam Newton now skyrocketing his draft stock.
Just want to tell you, I know we always talk about how the Patriots don't pay money. The last 2 years, Chris Hogan was making more money with the Patriots than he is now. He was making over $1 million both years that he was with the Patriots contracts, and he makes $825 now with the Panthers.
I like this Hogan signing. I mean,
think
it's
it
a little bit
helps.
underrated, but yeah, they needed it. We talked about it in the tight end show last week. They needed another receiver.
Yeah, I think that they just need to add. They needed a body, and they needed a different type of wide receiver. They didn't need another Curtis Samuel. They didn't need.
Well, I think Chris Hogan's going to be better than anybody they can get in the mid rounds.
I was gonna say he's got the potential. It's just a matter, and I think he is successful in the short yardage throws, which is what Cam Newton may end up having to deal with, depending on how well this shoulder is healing.
Well, and that's my thing. Who's their over the top guy?
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore's possession,
yeah.
short to middle, but to me,
Well, he's a
it's-
Hogan.
Right, but to me, it's Curtis Samuel's the deep threat, and
This just feels like another body out there. That's it.
Well, they needed somebody.
I agree. But they need an over the top. They need a big guy.
yeah.
They need
Well,
Funches.
They could still draft. They could still draft that guy.
There's big wide receivers that are faster and more athletic than Funchess in this draft.
Oh, I agree.
So
Well,
they
if they can get one of those guys, it'd be
If
perfect.
they want to draft one early, I mean, they'll be there. There's a bunch of these guys.
True. All right, so that's all we really had of the news. Like I said, there really wasn't a ton of fantasy news. It was just more so like a couple key points, like Leonard Fournette's situation and the Russell Wilson signing. But to me, Demaryius Thomas is the big one outside of the top two main guys.
I love that signing for the Patriots. That's awesome. Because the upside to that is it could be ginormous.
Well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, if Edelman is not healthy or Edelman's now because he's going to be the slot guy. Demaryius Thomas is going to be the outside guy. If they draft a young guy or bring a young guy in through the draft or through free agency still, he's probably going to be on the outside because they've got that set up going. Because Edelman can be on the outside, but his bread and butter is that slot spot, and that's what they want.
DT will be on the outside.
Yeah, DT
Right.
will be on the outside. Edelman will be where he plays, and then James White's going to catch a bunch of balls again. That's what he does.
Sony Michel.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't rule out Sonny Michel.
Well, no.
no.
I mean, but he's not going to be catching a lot.
Right. I mean,
Okay, I get what you're saying. I get your
James
point
White's
now.
going to be still used in that passing. I still think he's going to be heavily used, and I think that this is what the new Patriot offense. It's short yardage throws, a lot of check downs, a lot of hand the ball off to Michelle,
Hey.
a lot of dump down passes.
They got jewelry, so.
Right, it works. And Tom Brady's not out there throwing as much as he had been, or throwing the deep shot that he had been in the past.
Plus,
so
they ran the ball a lot with Michelle last year when he came back.
yeah,
So
we'll see.
they're balanced.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the final segment of today, the mock draft mayhem presented by Trophy Smack. Oh, there we go.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
This is Mock Draft Mayhem.
Awesome.
Mock
That's a new one.
mayhem.
I just want everybody to know that's watching or listening, neither one of the guys here knew that I changed up the mock draft mayhem sound drop, so I was waiting to see the reaction. So unfortunately, nobody got to see it probably on the YouTube side because of the slide coming across, but Blackbird's face was priceless and made it all worth the while. So, but yeah, it's presented by Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack has 1,000 different customizations that you can do, whether it's just the bottom, the base, to the pillars, to the toppers, colors, everything. They've got it all. And they also have the fantasy rings as well as the newly added championship belts. And I just saw that for you, if you listen to us and you also play fantasy basketball, they actually have championship trophies they just added for you guys if you're at the end of your season or if you're just now starting your actual. I don't know how fantasy basketball, so please don't. That's not my thing. So
You get points based on scoring and stuff.
I understand the
Similar to football.
Jeez, I just never mind.
I know,
I just meant in the concept. I don't know how do they play their fantasy championship before like we do week 16s, like before the playoffs
I've
really
never
start.
I've
But
never played
Never done
fantasy
it, so.
basketball.
Either way, if your fantasy playoffs are over and you've won, go to TrophySmack.com. Get yourself a basketball trophy. Get yourself a football trophy for this year.
It's round.
Just saying, they do.
You'll like it.
Yeah,
Get the loser's trophy.
get the
Oh,
losers
yeah.
trophies.
Got to have a loser.
There is always one, Randy.
Or
anyways.
five.
Or five. He's like Tom Brady.
The exact opposite.
True. All right, so the mock draft, just kind of give a general concept of what the layout was. It was a 10-team, full PPR, 15 rounds. Now, the starting lineup, which this was the ha-ha because apparently I didn't communicate well enough, which is not surprising.
It's not.
You didn't notice that how I was drafting though?
Right.
I wasn't paying attention. I was on the go, and it was like, all right, these are the guys available. I'm thinking it's standard lineup, so I'm like, okay, cool.
Cool, I don't need this.
Right.
Anyway, so it's one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and then 2 flexes, which could be a wide receiver, running back, tight end. That's the kicker. Speaking of kicker, there's 1 and a
Only
defense.
gave one of those.
So yeah. Now, we kind of put in the concept that you had to draft a kicker and defense. Not every league do you have to even have one in your starting lineup, and there's some that you don't even have to draft them. I'll be honest with you, unless you're really set, you have your heart set on one of these like upper echelon defenses like the Bears or somebody like that, probably best to either try to add another running back, wide receiver, depth-wise towards the end of the draft. Just saying. Because
Extreme defense.
I kind of got blown up on Twitter for. I know that they didn't know my team, but I'm like, I get it. I drafted this defense, but I didn't even want to draft the defense. I was going to go without them. Just keep drafting depth.
I just like to point out that you guys both not only no, you're fine. Both of you guys, I felt like weren't playing to draft your normal strategies. It was to block the other people in this draft because there was
That may or may not happened a couple times.
I feel like there was maybe like a side text bar like, hey, so Pickle's getting ready to probably need a quarterback here. Let's go ahead and draft like 4 in a row.
We did not text each other.
Yeah, no.
I can promise you that.
No, when you're betting here, it can't. There's
Yeah.
a punishment on the line.
Well, you don't have to be the best.
No.
You just can't be the last.
After the
right?
first round, you could see the trend, what was happening here. There's basically next best available was coming off the board. So what I was doing is drafting to my needs, and yes, I was looking to see what you two were going to need.
Well, that's what you do.
Right.
That's how you draft.
That's what makes the draft fun.
Yeah.
True. So, all right. So we're kind of going to go round by round and kind of maybe touch points. It's different players. Maybe we think they're too high or their situations could change. So, obviously, I drafted from the 2nd spot. You drafted from the 7th or was it the 6th spot?
I think it's 6.
No, he drafted 5.
Okay, 5, and then you drafted from the 8th spot.
8. Yep.
And it was a 10-team league, so we kind of just scattered kind of different perspectives. We didn't draft any like I gotta have running backs
Nope.
only, wide receivers only.
We'll do that later. We'll
Right.
mock where someone's going to be
Right.
wide receiver heavy, running back heavy.
This was
I
just
think we should
best
throw
available.
I think we should throw an early quarterback in there, like a top
You gotta
3
do it
round
top
one.
4.
Yeah,
Top 4. Yeah,
just to see what you give up
All right.
Right.
potentially
I'm on
or
board
what
with
you
that.
get out of that.
So just so everyone knows, in the draft, only one quarterback went in the first 4 rounds. just one. And no
And
shocker as
surprise,
to who
who
it
was
was. Patrick Mahomes. So, all right, so pretty standard across the board. Barkley, Elliott, Kamara, McCaffrey, Gordon, which seems to be pretty standard in most drafts for PPR.
So I want to stop right here at the Gordon pick because I want to talk about this one.
Yeah.
So I did pick Gordon here, but my option was Gurley, Gordon, or Hopkins.
Right.
I took what I thought was probably the last tier here because Gurley's injuries now are really starting to scare me. This offseason is not becoming any better.
And his ADP is dropping.
Right. So I think Gordon now bumps up in this next tier for me. So that's why I took Gordon here.
Right.
But now for any reason Gordon's injury or off season turns worse,
Right.
I think Hopkins would have been my pick.
Absolutely.
And that's crazy because I'm normally a running back first guy.
Right.
And I think that was the biggest shock in the first round was watching how far Todd Gurley dropped. And I mean, in
I was
years
hoping
past,
he would have made it to me, but he didn't.
No, he went the pick before. But I mean, I just think I agree with Trimboli. I just think the question marks, and it just seems every week there's he was seen spotted limping coming out of a restaurant. Oh, he's reporting, I'm fine. Sean McVay just went on Rich Eisen's show earlier this week, and he's like, oh, yeah, he's good. He's fine. Yeah, we just didn't expect him to be as banged up as what he was. But he's good. He's good.
Well, here's my thing with Gurley. If he was that bad off, I think they would have kept C.J. Anderson around.
See, that's the thing. I thought that was my initial thought as well. But then I'm like, if C.J. Anderson's coming off this, I'm this great fill-in running back. Look how good I did coming off with the dad bod and not doing a whole lot of workouts and then just rolling right in.
That was like 4 dad bods.
Right.
I just think Brown gives him more upside than CJ does.
And he's
So,
cheaper, probably.
Yeah, a lot.
That's
Well,
I think
know
that was
he's
the biggest
cheaper,
question.
but, well,
I mean, no one was really knocking down the door for CJ Anderson. No offense to him.
no,
He had a great
I get that,
run there.
but he was killing it.
He was
Oh, I
killing it,
agree.
and I think and we don't know. Maybe behind closed doors, he was wanting too much for what the Rams were wanting to offer for a backup to potentially kind of sidestep.
Well, I know they're
for
in
Gurley.
cap trouble anyway. The Rams are because they got all those high-profile guys. But
Well, yeah, they've paid some players, and they've got to save some money for down the road for guys as well. So
Yeah,
I
played
just-
golf.
that's going to be the kicker
Yeah,
because then Cooper Kupp is going to be coming up for one.
Brandon Cooks is going to eventually want some more money. Gurley,
And
if
we're-
he's still playing,
And we ain't even started on defense yet.
no.
So
That's some big names out there. So, anyway, so then
So we're back to the fifth. Gordon went fifth pick.
right. So
Yes.
then you go to Hopkins, Gurley, and then Blackburn took Devontae Adams because, well, I think he was kind of the best available at that point.
I kind of played with the idea of Le'Veon Bell here,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking PPR.
Right.
Devontae Adams is the number one guy.
Right.
I couldn't pass that up.
No, I understand completely. I mean, I don't think anybody would have faulted you either for taking Le'Veon Bell at that point because I think that Bell is just going to be a target monster.
I think he's going to be the check down guy like Saquon was last year.
Right, and then followed up in the round. It was James Conner, so a running back there for Pittsburgh, and then followed into the guy took David Johnson. So not a bad turn with James Conner and David Johnson because
I actually
there's a
like
lot
that.
of upside in that first two picks.
Yeah, I was actually hoping Johnson or Mixon would make it back to me.
I wanted David Johnson to slip to me again at the 4 picks later, but he didn't.
Yeah,
So we're on pick.
So we're on pick 12.
Second round, first pick.
yeah.
Well, second round,
12.
second pick.
Yeah, so you got Odell Beckham came in at the second pick of the second round.
Then it was my turn again. I almost picked Dalvin Cook right here,
Yeah,
but because I wanted a stud running back, but Julio was staring right at me, and I was like, Devontae and Julio, stud wide receivers.
right. And they've shown that if he's proven, and I think we talked about this in the wide receiver show, he has proven that even without the touchdowns, he's still very viable fantasy option as a wide receiver one because he is getting so many targets for that and opportunities. And then if you pile in the touchdowns as they come, that just makes him that much better of an option, in my opinion.
They're just going to throw more this year.
I think so too. With Tevin Coleman being gone, I think they're going to lean more pass heavy.
I think Freeman's going to be banged up all year. Ito Smith's going to be, he's going to spell him here and there, but I think it's going to be heavily passed this year.
Right.
Which it should be. That's when they went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. That was their bread and butter.
And that was Dirk Cutter.
And
That was
listen, the
offense.
better Ridley gets, the better Julio Jones will
Sure.
get because he'll be open more.
Exactly. And Austin Hooper, you got to watch out for.
True. I think
Yeah, he
he's gonna-
kind of was a sneaky play last year.
Can't be double covering everybody over there in
No.
Atlanta.
All right, so then next pick was
This
Joe
one surprised.
Mixon.
No, this surprised me. Kelsey went.
Did I drop? Oh, I missed Kelsey. Okay, so Travis Kelsey went.
Way earlier than I thought.
Yeah,
he
I just
was.
wanted. So Real quick, let's finish the round here. But, I mean, he went before guys like Mixon, Thomas, Michael Thomas, Dalvin Cook, Juju, Tyreek Hill, and Mike Evans. That's crazy.
And
for
Brown
me.
and Chubb even. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Those are all, to me, like viable startup guys. And I'm not saying that Travis Kelce shouldn't be the first tight end drafted off
Absolutely
the
not, but not at number 2.5 or 4.
board. No,
Yeah.
no, not in the second round that early. I mean, I wouldn't even touch him till the earliest I think I could, if I was going to draft and take a shot with Travis Kelce, third round would be pushing it for me. But that's just me.
The only thing I do like, though, is what he piggybacked with coming back.
yeah.
Even though it's way too early for that, too, but at least he's got the
Got the stack.
Right.
stack. Thank you. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, you're fine. So,
Literally.
like you said, Joe Mixon, Michael Thomas, Dalvin Cook, and then you took Michael Thomas as your second pick.
So
Did I
Melvin
throw you
Gordon.
guys a little curveball here?
It did. It did. I was
Dalvin-
expecting
I wanted
Dalvin.
Dalvin Cook.
I was almost 100% sure you were going to take Dalvin Cook.
Yes.
I wanted to, but then I was too afraid. What would happen is I'd have no wide receiver on the way back.
But you
One
lucked
that I
out.
thought was in a certain tier. So Michael Thomas was there. He's in a tier higher than Dalvin Cook is in my running back. So that's why I went with Michael Thomas. So
That's why I did Devontae Julio.
Right. So then, as we said, Dalvin Cook, Juju Smith-Schuster, and then I ended up taking the best, in my opinion, available at that point because I felt like the running backs were kind of like dropped off a tier at that point. So
They did.
they did.
So the best available, and I would have taken Juju at my second pick had he not gone. I would have taken him over Tyreek just because I just feel like there's a lot of question marks. And it's not because I think Juju's better than Tyreek. I think Tyreek is better than Juju in the offenses, respectively, that they're going to be in. This is just me.
The uncertainty with the legal problems.
Right. I mean, there isn't anything new came out or anything, so as long as it stays status quo as it is right now, he's going to play. He won't
But you
miss
know
any time.
Juju's going to be the number one guy there. So
There's not really any competition for targets with him. That's the thing with
Yeah.
Juju. So,
I like it.
So Tyreek Hill, I ended up taking him, my second pick. Then the guy finished up after that with Mike Evans, then paired him up with Antonio Brown. So he's got Barkley, Evans, Antonio Brown, which is not bad
That's
at
nice.
all.
But Antonio Brown fall into the third round.
I've seen him actually fall to like the fourth round in some mocks, which is crazy.
It's
But
Oakland where
what
wide
happens
receivers
when-
go to die.
That's right.
Right.
That's what happens when Derek
R.I.P.
Carr's sitting there like, come on, buddy.
right.
What'd you say? His car's up on blocks.
Yeah.
Comes up on blocks.
That's what you get for leaving it in Dayton.
Right. Nick Chubb, man. Nick Chubb, I took him
Put
at
that in the garage, bro.
He's got that. I was gonna go with check engine light again, but anyways,
All right, so you
I took Nick Chubb at my third pick. So my two
Good
running
pick.
backs is Zeke and Nick Chubb, and then wide receiver Tyreek Hill. I felt like he was the best available, and I wanted to take a running back before potentially a run started. That was my concern.
no listen. Nick Chubb is a great pick here. I was really hoping he'd come all the way back to me because really I didn't like anything after
No.
that. I really
No,
don't. Not in this round.
I knew
so-
I knew once I picked Devontae and Julio running, I was going to be scarce on running backs.
Right.
Well, I just got fortunate that the guy before me, I know it's only a mock, but he took 3 running backs because that left me with another good tier wide receiver.
Right.
So
So then Leonard Fournette, Damian Williams, the current starting running back in Kansas City. Then Adam Thielen recently paid high-profile wide receiver to Trimboli. And so now you've got Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen, Melvin Gordon as your first 3 picks, which to
Solid.
me in your
it's
first
not the way I normally
No.
draft though.
no, but it's a solid setup. That's the thing. I feel like when you're looking at these first 3 picks, you got to have a solid grouping, whether it's all running backs or all wide receivers or a mix of running back, wide receiver. You have to have 3 solid guys that you know they're going to set the baseline for your team, and then you just build off of that.
Right.
I mean, that's the biggest thing when we talk about drafting smart and drafting the way that we've talked about, which we try to go running back early, but obviously you can't. I'm not reaching for running backs in the second or third round just because I want 3 running backs.
Right.
So it's best available in your mind, and I just felt like overall you're looking at 3 players. I mean, we'll get to your third person as well, but I just felt like both of our teams built at the beginning very well.
If you guys have never drafted by tiers, that's something that I would learn.
Right.
Yes.
It's actually helped me draft over the years.
Absolutely. I agree.
Right, and you got to know when you're where this tier drops off, where it falls off a little bit, and it may be only like a half a step back, but still a half a step back is a guy, and maybe a guy in the next round. Wait until the next round to draft him in a comfortable spot, so you're not reaching and maybe missing out another guy. So
Right.
All right, so then after that, it was Zach Ertz was the second tight end taken off the board. This is where I kind of thought I would see Travis Kelce kind of taken, right in this middle of the third round. But
I agree.
Zach Ertz was taken, and then followed up, we talked about it, the guy who took Travis Kelce in the second round ended up taking Patrick Mahomes, kind of, as we talked about, to stack him up for receptions, which I think that if Tyreek Hill misses any games or is out for an extended period of time, Travis Kelce becomes that heavy target guy. And for
As he should be.
touchdown opportunities will just go through the roof for him.
Absolutely.
So Blackburn then follows up with A.J. Green, which I think that's a perfect setup right here at the third round. I mean, the fact that you're getting A.J. Green in the third round is crazy.
That's what I was thinking about. We go back to the tier thing. You look at the running backs that I already went. Like I said, I knew once I got Devontae and Julio that I was going to take a hit on the running backs. So I went by the tier system, and A.J. Green is better, a top-tier wide receiver, better than any of the running backs that were available.
Then if you look forward, the guys after you, they don't need the running back necessarily. These guys needed a wide receiver.
Right.
So you jumped in, took the best one available. I think it was perfect.
So to have Devontae Adams, Julio, and A.J. Green, I mean, that's pretty decent.
And even so, like when we talk about like later in this offseason, talking about trades, like trading players after your draft, immediately everybody's available, everybody's off. It could be traded at any point for players. And with you having 3 wide receivers, if you see a guy's like, hey, I got 3 running backs, let's make a trade. I need one receiver, you need 1 running back, let's make a swap. And in theory, that helps you guys.
Right.
Both teams.
Well, I went heavy on the wide receivers as we get later in the draft, you'll see.
Right. So followed up after A.J. Green, you had T.Y. Hilton. Then you had George Kittle.
To round out the third.
Then you fly into the 4th round, which is a surprise.
That's what I was going to say.
Keenan Allen fell to the 4th round.
Yeah, I was very surprised with that.
I mean, he would have been perfect for a team, I mean, in the 4th round. I mean, this guy is kind of building a pretty good team at Connor, Johnson, Kittle, and now Keenan Allen as his wide receiver 1. I mean, those are all like specifically top tier. I mean, those are top 12 guys in their respective position if they hit.
Right.
Yeah, I think the wide receiver pool, though, is so deep this year.
It is.
Absolutely. And we're not even factoring in rookies this year.
No.
Right. There's going to be some heavy hitter rookies, too.
Right. And then coming back, you had Derrick Henry, and then Blackburn took Tariq Cohen because, I mean, I just feel like you were looking for, at that point, you were looking at PPR upside.
Well, there was there was Mack and Sony Michelle's and Mark Ingram's, Freeman's. But, yeah, you're right. Even with Jordan Howard there, Tariq Cohen finished top 13 last year in PPR.
Right.
Now he's not there. You got Mike Davis. This offense is geared toward Tariq Cohen. I look for him to have a huge year.
And I just think that this is just continuing the maturing of Mitchell Trubisky and making him a check down, not a check down quarterback, but have the opportunity to have I mean, Tariq Cohen doesn't just line up in the running back spot. He lines up in the slot. He's lined up outside. I mean, he's moved around in that offense, kind of like a Tyreek Hill was in the Chiefs offense. So I just think that that's what you're looking at, and the high upside of what he could do now that he doesn't have Jordan Howard competing against him. Not that Jordan Howard really competed, but Mike Davis to me fills right into what Jordan Howard was, and it's the same. He's picking up right where he left off.
Well, I actually think Davis needs to be maybe not as much involved in the offense as Howard for Cohen to succeed, but he needs to be a pretty big point because I don't know if Cohen can handle all the carries on top of everything.
Well, I don't think Cohen's he'll get some carries, but his main goal is 20 to 20. When they get in that red zone, that's where you're going to see Mike Davis.
Right.
I wish they had the split like New England's going to have with Sony Michel and James White.
Maybe they will.
That's what I think. If the Chicago ran here, it'd be perfect.
With Tariq Cohen, I was literally the first thing I thought of was a better version of James White.
Yeah, exactly.
And then after that, you got Amari Cooper, Marlon Mack. Amari Cooper came to the 4th round. Wow. I would have thought the 5th round, but
look at that guy's team. He's got Gurley, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. You got the stack there with your tight end and quarterback.
He's got youth.
Right,
yeah.
And then you got Amari Cooper, who's not bad. And you got him in the 4th round.
No.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, Marlon Mack. Then Trimboli hit with Sony Michel. So you got Michel and Gordon as your running backs. Then you got Michael Thomas and Thielen as your wide receivers. Not bad. Still building off of the first 3 guys.
I like it.
This guy finally, after Trimboli took the wide receiver, after going 3 running backs, which he kind of figured he was going to have to take a wide receiver at this point, took Brandon Cooks, high upside guy in a high-powered offense, which will probably be throwing the ball potentially a little bit more because we're not sure what we're doing with Gurley at this point.
Yeah, but he's still the 3rd option.
He is.
Yeah.
So
you got Cooks and or not Cooks, but Kupp and Woods.
Right.
I love Cooper Kupp. Don't get me wrong here, but I think Robert Woods, if he's the last of those 3 drafted, he's going to give you the best value.
I was going to say if I'm having to take one of these 3 guys at their current ADP value wise, with the potential that they all finish right around the same point wise, Robert Woods is the lowest on the ADP. I'm not saying don't take Brandon Cooks or don't take Cooper Kupp, but I'm saying and don't reach for those guys because I feel like you can still get a valuable wide receiver in that offense in Robert Woods, and I think he was going.
They're 3 spots apart.
Right.
Cooper Kupp was 5'7", Robert Woods is 5'10", so
Right. That to me, I mean, the longer you can wait on one of these guys, I think the better. But I mean, if you're really needing a wide receiver like this guy was having to take, Brandon Cooks isn't a bad one to take in the 4th round. So
no. I love Cooper Kupp though.
yeah.
Oh, I do too. Don't get me wrong. I think Woods' name alone doesn't carry enough value
It
yet to
doesn't.
bump it up.
Right.
And I think he's going to be
Right.
might be the 2nd or best wide receiver on that team.
True. Possibly.
Fantasy wise, I mean.
Right. Then Stephon Diggs. I ended up taking Kenny Golladay as my 2nd wide receiver. I just think that this offense potentially is a run. Right. It is a run. It's probably going to be a run first offense, obviously. But to me, Kenny Golladay is still going to see enough volume, if nothing else, in the red zone potential for touchdowns. So
Well, Marvin Jones was a bust last year.
he was.
He's hurt.
He was hurt,
I get that he was hurt, but even when he wasn't, it was the Kenny Galladay show.
yeah, and I that's why I kind of took him because I felt like I needed another wide receiver, and I felt like he was the best available for another drop off kind of started to kind of roll in. So Julian Edelman followed after that. Then you had Mark Ingram coming back around on the
All
snake.
these running backs in this
Right.
round.
Yeah, this is where the running backs really took off. So, and I took Devonta Freeman because I felt like in the 5th round, and a guy who may or may not, he's my flex guy at this point.
Right.
So I didn't.
You just didn't want me to have him.
Right. Well, I'm not big on Devonta Freeman because I just think that this offense is going to be more pass oriented. But if I'm going to pick if I need a potential high upside guy that may or may not be healthy on a week to week basis, the guys going after him, they all kind of are all playing in a committee potential as well. To me, if you really look at it, Phillip Lindsay after this, Royce Freeman, Kerryon Johnson, you've got C.J. Anderson coming in. Chris Carson, you got Penny,
Yep.
Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams. So I feel like this is the group. Mark Ingram was the last guy who was kind of by himself of the running backs that went in this round.
I mean,
Right.
He's fighting with his own quarterback.
Right.
Right.
So it's a totally different ballgame. But to me, I took Devonta Freeman. I wasn't like the best feeling when I hit draft, but
Hey, I'll take it because he can catch too.
right. My concern
just
is the
health. I
is
know.
the biggest concern for him, and
Well,
I like
once
to
you-
try to build.
Well, once you get to this point, I mean, to me, 5th round, Devonta Freeman's a steal.
Yeah, and that's why I felt like I could comfortably take him and be like, okay, I'll just hit draft. I'll set it and forget it. So, Phillip Lindsay after that, like we said, Kerryon Johnson, and then Trimboli ended up taking Chris Carson, who to me, it's still a run. It was a run-heavy offense last year. He was the main guy, and he played through a lot of injuries.
Yeah. The only thing that scares me with him is he's for a PPR. He had 20 receptions.
Right.
That's not really
No.
gaudy numbers there. I
No,
mean,
but they didn't throw the ball a ton last year either. And
No.
I think when they invested in Russell Wilson, I think we all agreed that kind of tells you that they're going to try to transition this offense into more balanced or more pass-heavy offense. And they got rid of the offensive coordinator, who was Dave Bevel or whatever, who was
Yeah.
very run-heavy, who went to
Darren Bevel.
Yeah, he ended up going to Detroit.
I don't know.
So
He used to
as
be the
long as-
Vikings offensive coordinator.
So as long as Carson has still got the red zone
Yeah.
play here, then I think he's going to be fine.
I like Carson.
So
Yeah, I mean it's still it's Lockett's passing offense, followed by Baldwin, and then Chris Carson's like the third offense.
They need to go get one of these big receivers.
yeah, and again, I debated between Jones and Geis.
Yeah,
I just went with what I thought will be the better offense, and Aaron Jones. I think that's going to be a complete committee.
right,
They already said it was.
right.
Yeah, and then but I mean, Geis probably has the best. He's got potentially
Well,
better upside. Who
Geis,
knows?
well,
But
we'll get to him in a second.
So then it went Aaron Jones, Cooper Kupp, Darius Geis with Blackburn. So you got Tree Cohen and Darius Geis, which are both high upside guys and high upside potentials, which is the big thing. And Darius Geis is going to be the guy at some point in this offense.
I think he is going to be the guy. The only thing that scares me is that we don't know who the quarterback is.
yeah,
Yeah.
But, I mean, if we had Alex Smith in there and, like, he was healthy, I would have no problem taking with that Darius Geis.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they still may, even if they take a guy like Dwayne Haskins or Josh Rosen, I think that helps guys, in my
Well,
opinion.
the only thing that scares me is he's coming off an injury.
Right,
And they got Adrian Peterson for 2 more years.
right.
But if you look after Darius Geis, you got Drake, White, Jordan Howard, Tevin Coleman, Lamar Miller. I thought guys had the bigger upside than all those guys.
Yeah.
That's why I
think
took them
so.
when I did.
So then followed up with that is Baker Mayfield as
Which
the
is
number
complete
2.
trash.
Holy cow, 2. The
Second
number
quarterback. Baker, come on.
people. I understand the hype is real, and I understand that, but seriously, 2? Like, the next 2 quarterbacks I would have taken before him. I'm not saying that he can't be a top 3 or 4 quarterback, potentially. I'm just saying you don't draft him like that. You draft him where you
I mean, I was happy they did.
right, because then it slides another guy down.
Listen, anytime a quarterback goes before round 10, this guy's happy.
I'm like,
So,
what?
I don't even think about him.
So
I forget they're even on the field.
right. The next guy hits with Robert Woods, so he's got Keenan Allen, Robert Woods, not a bad combo. Then he follows up with James White. This guy is building a monster of a team here at the end.
Yeah, no joke. I just started looking this over.
I'm like, huh. Wow, he's really building a really good team.
I like the guy that picks after me. The Gurley, Travis Kelce, Mahomes, Amari Cooper, and Cooper Kupp. That's
right.
dangerous.
Then it's followed up by Jarvis Landry. Then you took the next quarterback,
Yeah.
who should be probably the second best quarterback.
Well,
on
once
the
I
draft.
seen Baker Mayfield go off, I was like, okay, if I don't take a QB here, I think a run's about to start on these
Right.
quarterbacks. So, yeah, I took Andrew Luck.
All right,
Let
so-
the run begin. I
Right.
don't care.
well, I like Andrew Luck. I think he's the second best quarterback off the board, and I'm just the fact that he slid to you is perfectly fine. I
At
think
6.
that's great.
I mean, that's
Right.
That's decent.
That's a good spot
Because
for
usually I
the
pick
second best
quarterbacks earlier
quarterback.
than that.
Well, my argument for quarterbacks while you wait.
Sure.
Okay, Mahomes, we all knew had a great year, so you got to take him out. He's an outlier here. But if you take number 2 finishing quarterback and then number 12, they finished 77 points apart.
Right.
It's like 3.4 points per week difference.
All right, but I was okay.
Well, the running backs, when you do them, that's over 100 points.
I get it.
That's a big gap.
I get
You
that.
got to get those
But I'm
guys.
thinking about our specific league. Our quarterbacks are worth 6-point touchdowns.
I did it that way.
Right.
Oh, you did it that way?
Yeah, they're close.
I don't know. I couldn't pass up Andrew Luck
No.
right there because I was afraid that Rodgers, Watson.
No,
All these
and
guys were gonna roll.
listen, at the end of the day, that's I know you like to draft this way in general, and it works.
Right.
I mean, it works for you. So I'm just saying that's why I hold off.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so Godwin, Jeffrey, then Tyler Boyd coming back to Trimboli, which I think that's a good setup for a third wide receiver and or flex potential.
A
Eric
little bit
Ebron.
of a homer pick, but that's all right.
But I understand.
Before we go any further, I don't want to take too much time, but Godwin, I think,
Yeah,
sleeper.
Yeah.
Big
Oh,
time
absolutely.
sleeper this year.
very much so.
He would have been my pick if he was
fell.
there. So
So then Eric Ebron, Kenyon Drake. I took Calvin Ridley because I just think that this offense could potentially, if Julio Jones blows up, I think this guy could be somebody.
Well, he's shown flashes that he can
He's
hit the
touchdown,
big
like,
play. Yeah.
big guy. That's about the only reason why I picked him at this point. It was probably maybe a round or so reach, but I just felt like he was the best next wide receiver. I felt like opportunity-wise. I already
agree.
had 3 running backs. So Aaron Rodgers finishes out the round. comes
At
back-
6.
Right. The 6th round. Not bad.
Baker Mayfield went 2 rounds before Aaron Rodgers. Come on.
Come on, people.
he went 1 round. You mean.
Right.
Whatever.
Well,
Almost
still.
2.
Almost. Anyways.
Don't correct me, Frank.
Mike Williams comes into the next round. And then the
good.
tight end run started a little bit. O.J. Howard, I took him. And Evan Ingram, followed by Deshaun Watson was the next quarterback taken off the board. And then Hunter Henry was the next tight end, which I think those are all good picks, in my opinion. I think that right around – this is where Deshaun Watson should be going, right around round 7, 8.
Well, I debated on taking Hunter Henry where I took Andrew Luck.
That wouldn't have been a bad
Because
play.
I think with Tyrell gone,
Yeah.
he's going to see an uptick in targets too.
Right. I think there's a total of like 80-some targets. I think that Tyrell Williams is vacated or whatever. So
Right.
Mike Williams is going to get a slight uptick, obviously. But I think that Hunter
Gordon.
Henry is going to roll right into that.
Yeah.
So
Well, if Henry would have been gone there,
Right.
and everyone else would have gone that went before him,
Right.
I would have waited then.
Yeah.
Kind of like punted on the tight end.
right.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, once we get to the end of this draft, you'll see Kyle Rudolph, Jordan Reed, and Tyler Eifert weren't even drafted.
Yeah.
True. Jordan Howard, Tevin Coleman, and then Lamar Miller, who still is, for all purposes, their RB1 there in Houston. And yes, Devonta Freeman is coming back, but he's never really been healthy. There's been that, he's coming back. He's coming back. Well, he never really came back last year. There's not been any talks of them bringing in any running back for draft purposes, like for any type of like running, any type of like drills or like interviews, nothing.
Trade a pick for Fournette.
Right.
Let's get Fournette in there with Hopkins and
There you go.
Deshaun Watson.
Jeez.
I wanted Bell to go there.
I did
Right.
too. I really did.
Once they missed out on that, I felt like that was kind of like the what you got, and you know what they're gonna probably either draft a young guy or they're just gonna roll with what they got. What? Did I miss something?
No, if Bell would have went to Houston, I would have took him over Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, DJ Moore, Latavius
Sorry,
Murray.
totally sidebar.
No, you're good. Latavius Murray, they come back around. Drew Brees, the next quarterback taken off the board. Did I miss something?
No, gotta get it out of my system.
Oh, all
right,
you
let's
got
do
the
this.
Giggles. All right.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt then, which that's a wow. 8th round on a guy who's not playing for the first,
Yeah, it's a
8
little-
to potentially 10 games.
That's a
depending
little
on how
early.
their bye week is.
That's a thanks for doing it because it helped me out later.
Right, because it's potentially with the bye week 9 weeks of him not playing.
Right. And then you got Emmanuel Sanders with Blackburn taking him, and he's definitely, I mean, he's your 4th wide receiver, so you've got time to kind of let him heal up before you really got to put him in a lineup spot, which is a great spot.
And like we talked about earlier, with these top 3 guys, I could maybe trade A.J. Green for a top running back and still have an Emmanuel Sanders to plug and play later.
Right.
Right.
Totally understand. Tyler Lockett, which I think he's going to be a pretty big guy, like player-wise for fantasy purposes.
I like
People
it.
are surprised. Will be surprised by the end of the year. Then Russell Wilson, Dante Pettis, with I think that's a big play because he's the wide receiver 1 in that offense, unless they prove otherwise.
I don't know
Well-
if he can be considered a sleeper, but I'm high on this guy.
Yeah.
It depends on Jimmy G, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if Mullins gets in there, it's the Kittle show.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson, Matt Ryan. I took LaShawn McCoy because he was the best available running back in the starting spot at that point. And I was like, you know what, who's a flyer I could take at this point? Because I felt like right around the 8th, 9th round, that's when you kind of take guys that are flyers, potentially high upside that could be something big.
When's the last time LaShawn McCoy was a 9th round draft pick?
2019.
I was today
Spoiler
years
alert.
old when I learned that LaShawn McCoy was a 2019 or round 9 pick.
Right. Then Will Fuller, and then you come back around. Rashad Penny. I ended up taking Robbie Anderson in the 9th round. I just felt like that was
I
another
like
high
that, though.
upside guy.
I think that's an underrated pick.
Right. Sammy Watkins, Chicago Bears defense, which, wow.
At the 9th round? Come
Listen,
on.
he just needs to finish out his team.
Right. He just wanted us to get us started.
There's always one of those guys at the draft.
There is. Golden Tate at the
Matt-
5th spot in the 9th round, which is not bad at all. High upside in an offense that's probably going to be doing a lot of checkdowns.
Yeah.
As long as Eli Manning is the quarterback, check down. Jerick McKinnon, which, wow, that's a pretty big jump for a guy who's going to be like, I don't know. I mean, Tevin Coleman went in the 7th round. Jerick McKinnon's going in the 9th round. I mean, that's 2 starting running backs on this
committee.
49er offense, which I have no idea who's going to be the guy.
Nobody does.
No.
I think it should be, well, to me, I think it should be Tevin Coleman.
I think it should be 2, but.
I think they use the fate ball right there.
Right, maybe.
Which running back do I want?
Kyle Shanahan, he's like,
See what it is. Which
Does not
Is it
compute.
going to be McKinnon or Coleman?
Please try again. It doesn't even move.
Says Blackburn, you were always right. Coleman it is. Yes. I knew
enough.
I was going to say
I
that.
knew that thing was broken.
Anyway, so then you got Royce Freeman, Vance McDonald. That's a great spot for him.
I like that.
Yes.
Great
well, I
spot.
bet you do.
Well, I picked him.
I know.
I do too,
but I'm
though.
saying that's a great spot for him. High upside, potential like top 5 sleeper tight end.
Well, I just like it because he had a lot of targets last year with Brown and Juju,
Yeah.
and now it's just Juju and him.
Yeah,
Right.
So-
most definitely. Doug Baldwin, I think this is a good spot for him finally. Maybe kind of wait and see because at this point, this guy's already got 4 other tight ends or 4 other wide receivers. So Doug Baldwin's health issues and potentially if he's not ready for the beginning of the season, you've got a little bit of room to wait and see what he's going to do. But he's still a monster when it comes to the receptions now that he's a little bit older, more how you want to call it. He's put into more like a Larry Fitzgerald box where he's just going to be a set certain routes. He's going to be probably a slot guy and go from there. So Corey Davis
It's
in
a
the
fall
9th
from
round.
grace, Corey Davis.
Well, when your quarterback's pure trash.
But hey, he put on weight. You leave him alone.
Yeah, okay. So did Eddie Lacy. How'd that work
Yeah.
out for him? Exactly.
Yeah.
So because he's been,
Now he's the new
he's been
spokesman
pounding
for Golden
donuts in the
Corral.
off season,
Yeah.
and now it's okay.
He's at the chocolate fountain. Oh, get him out. Come on.
Just shoveling it in.
Just keep going. LA Rams were the 2nd defense taken off the board at the 10th round. Wow.
Cool.
Deonta Foreman coming in. Then you got Larry Fitzgerald, which I think that's a perfect spot. 10th round for a guy who potentially could
Yeah,
at
well,
any point finish top 12.
That's what I was looking at. I think they're going to get Kyler Murray. I think that's going to help Fitzgerald out. So now my receivers are Devontae, Julio, A.J. Green, Emmanuel Sanders, and Larry Fitzgerald.
That's a lot of upside.
And I think Fitzgerald will be higher in ADP if Murray is their quarterback.
I think so, too. But for now, for 10th round, I couldn't pass that up.
No. Austin Eckler. So now you're starting to kind of get into those second running back groups, like the guys that are like the backups or maybe the second part B to the committee. Then you go Christian Kirk, Carson Wentz.
It's the 10th round. You got to take QB.
You got to take a quarterback at this point. And Carlos Hyde, James Washington, Mike Davis. I took him just because at this point, best available. I felt like he was better than the running backs that were left on the board for opportunity purposes. Because if nothing else, if he just slides right into what Jordan Howard was, you're only really playing him on matchup-based games anyways.
Right.
So Edo Smith follows up with that. Then we head into the 11th round with Njoku. Geronimo Allison. Now, here's where the quarterback group starts to kind of take off. And just so you know, Pickle didn't take one.
Well,
so
I was a little surprised you didn't do it.
I
where
really
Allison
thought
was at.
that
He thought it was going to wait.
I thought it was
going to
wait another round, come back to me because you got all these other guys that have starters. I figured nobody's going to double up. Well, shocking. So Cam Newton, Jared Goff, and then Jameis Winston went to a guy who already had Carson Wentz. What a
Pro
jerk.
tip here: I know Pickle's high on Winston, so what did I do? Yeah, I'll just take him.
Steal. Then you got Austin Hooper, Tom Brady, Chris Thompson coming in, which to me-
Insurance for guys. That's why I did it.
Good call. See, that's the point right there because if Geis goes down, obviously Adrian Peterson's going to be the every down back, but Chris Thompson's got his role etched. What he's going to do regardless.
Right.
So, Marvin Jones, then Phillip Rivers. Man, these quarterbacks start going. Jalen
Got
Samuels.
really red all of a sudden.
Well, yeah, that's why. Yeah, Samuels went, then Kirk Cousins, and that's when I took Big Ben because I was looking at the quarterbacks flying off the board, and I need a backup. Andrew Luck and Big Ben is a pretty good combo.
And this guy needed a starter, and I was going to take Big Ben. I will tell you, Kirk Cousins and Big Ben and Phillip Rivers are all on my queue to come back to me, and not one of them. When I got alerted it was your pick, I was like, all right, quarterback, who do I got left out of these three guys that I
No green eyeball was there.
Not one.
No green eyeball,
Not
which
one.
means you should have drafted one they ran before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Pro tip, just so we're all
I
aware.
hope that Geronimo
Don't
Allison can
don't
throw the
wait
ball.
that far on quarterbacks. Cortland Sutton.
Well, really, I mean, in all reality, it's matchup based.
Yeah.
Right.
I
can
know,
stream
but
this position.
I knew exactly what was going on when I saw that you both took quarterbacks before I got a pick back. So it's whatever. I mean, it's cool.
I mean, we can always trade.
We can. Naeem Hines, Devin Funchess. I don't trade with you. Deshaun Jackson, Jamal Williams, and then I took a quarterback in Jimmy G. I felt like he was the best available at that point, and I knew I didn't even want to try to take and see if this guy who had Aaron Rodgers already take another quarterback.
Listen, don't
and then I
lie.
get stuck.
The app wouldn't even let you pick anyone else but a quarterback.
Right.
This is the point. They were like
He just
alerting.
blacked everything out but the quarterback.
Take a quarterback.
I'm surprised you didn't take Darnold.
No, I'm good.
He was available.
I said I wanted a quarterback.
You didn't want the stack with Darnold and Robbie Anderson?
Nope, that would not be a stack. That would be a never mind. Delaney Walker, Day Westbrook coming in at the 1313th round.
Day-Day.
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 Where's Craig?
Craig.
That's a
Day-Day's
Friday joke in
kids.
case you
Top
guys
flight
didn't know.
security.
Oh, Day-Day's, it was Tunnel Was that his name?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
And then I took my second quarterback because I didn't trust anybody else and maybe take a third quarterback. Dak Prescott.
And you trust none of,
course.
us would have drafted him.
I knew that you were going to pick Dak Prescott. I just had a feeling.
Well, he was the best available at that point. So,
Sure, Palmer.
Matt Breida, Sterling Shepard, Adrian Peterson,
Yeah.
which I think that's a good
Solid.
spot. So that kind of puts like
Hey, he had 1,000 yards last year.
right. Kiki Kuti, I think if stays healthy, could be a viable fantasy option on a given week, matchup wise. Then the Baltimore Ravens defense. Then here comes the Blackburn took a defense. Minnesota Vikings. I think 13th, 14th, 5th round. If you're going to take a better defense, you're going to probably have to take them in the 13th round, unless you're apparently drafting the Bears or the Rams in rounds 9 and 10. The Vikings defense is a good spot to me at that point if you're going to take a defense that you're going to probably roll on a week-to-week basis more so than a stream.
I do.
So-
I keep them on mine.
Right.
I usually have them every year.
Right. So I was not surprised to see them land on your team.
Actually, for me, when it comes to defense, I know it's hard to do, at least in the first week. I just kind of see who they're playing the first week. That's who I draft.
right.
Well, yeah.
If I think they got a decent matchup, I'll just draft
If I
that
can get
team.
one of the top 3 defenses, I do it, and then I do matchup based. I look at the waivers, and if there's a defense going up against a sorry team, I'll snag them.
Right. All right. So just to we'll kind of briskly go through the rest of this since it's the last 2 rounds.
Right.
Deion Lewis, Trey Burton finished out the 13th, followed up by Janikowski. Then you got Jacksonville's defense, Zerline.
Yeah, I took
Tucker.
the Rams kicker.
That's a good one. Tucker, Cleveland Browns defense, Cowboys defense, Harrison Butker.
Yeah, it's Butker.
Okay. Just want to make sure I didn't butcher it.
Her.
Yeah. Houston Texans defense, Will Lutz. Chargers defense. That's who I thought I was going to get on the way back. Robbie Gold. Colts defense for me, Kai Forbath, Jay Ajayi. Okay. Goskowski finishing out for Trimboli's team. Adavan Terry, Marquise Goodwin, Austin Severian Jenkins.
I
which
figured
think
why
that's a
not?
good
I only
one.
had one tight end. I didn't
Oh,
realize
yeah.
it at the time, and I'm like, okay, all the hype. I'll take him last pick.
So, and then Peyton Barber
And
and
Mr. Relevant.
Chris
Mr.
Thompson, the
Relevant?
wide receiver.
Chris Thompson.
So,
Not the Redskins, Chris Thompson.
no, he was taken a couple rounds earlier. But yeah,
Go ahead. I was
No.
going to say the thing that stood out to me was, again, Eifert, Jordan Reed, and Kyle Rudolph did not even get drafted.
right. So, we'll tell you guys, thanks again for tuning in to today's show, the podcast, YouTube, or DATV. Make sure you subscribe on the respective podcast or YouTube channels. You can follow our show's articles, which are going to be on the hateful8ff.com. If you guys are wanting to pre-order the draft loadout, head over to averagejoenation.com. And Trophy Smack is giving you guys a 50% promo code and the potential to win a free ring, which you can't beat that.
Nope.
So you can follow me on Twitter at jpickleTH8FF, at jblackburnTH8FF.
Do it.
At ftrim.
This guy. Do to this guy.
At ftrimTH8FF. Next week we're going to be kind of dabbling into the sleepers and get into that. So overall, I think it'll be interesting to kind of talk about sleepers in depth-wise. But
So tune in.
yeah, tune in. So before we forget, we did do a poll for the mock draft on who outfit-wise would be what the outfit would be. It was Disney Princess again, surprisingly. The
So
lunch
we'll
lady
do-
almost made it.
We'll do Disney 2.0.
Disney 2.0, and the loser of the three of us by a smidge. It was very close. I was sweating it out. I'm not gonna lie. Blackburn finished third, and it was only by like a % or two.
I think they just wanted to see me do
Hey,
part 2. I did
this is
Sleeping
probably
Beauty
true.
last year. This year, I'm going to tell you, it's probably going to be Ariel.
Right. There you go.
Like Hulk
I like
Hogan, I body slam this mock draft.
There you go.
Bam.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.